one cares. They have no compassionate comprehension of social reality. Do you see what I'm making? So they don't mind stealing from anyone. You see what I'm making? They don't mind performing these crimes on their people because they feel that people don't care. If they really felt the compassion and love that society had for them, they would not be doing this stuff. So when you go and beat them over the head, are you helping their attitude? You understand what I'm making? When you lock them up and cage them, you're adding to their reality that society ain't shit. You're telling them that they're right. We don't give a fuck. You won't say, well, you're stealing. Obviously, you was hungry. Let me get you something to eat. Let me beat you upside your goddamn head. That's the solution to your hunger. You won't say, well, let me challenge some of this materialism. Did you really need this gold chain? Do you really need all this stuff? Are you going to die without this? How valuable is this? You're not going to challenge that. How valuable is life to you? You're not going to really teach them and wake them up. Your solution is cracking them over the head and throwing them behind bars. And you think they're going to come out as evolved humans somehow. That this is a correctional facility and people are actually being corrected. And they're coming out more matter, more angry, and more evolved with their deviousness. You see what I'm making? More ingenious with their schemes. You see the point I'm making? To attack society. And they're not just attacking the European society, they're attacking their own society. So the fact that you're locking them up is our problem too. Because they're coming out. Give an example. They passed these new drug laws or whatever, now they start to let people get shorter terms, right? With the crack and cocaine argument. Now what I see is several leaders now on the streets. So now you got, it used to be a rotation of leaders coming out of jail. Normally when one leader comes in, another one comes out. This is how it used to be with how they had it set up. Now they let about 5 leaders out on the street. What you think gonna happen? They're all territorial. You got 8 chiefs now. You feel what I'm making? All in the same neighborhood. And you wonder why so many shootings. Because they're letting them out now. You got 5 gang leaders out now. 5 people that were selling and controlling Turks, because they only lock up the ones with the most money. So those were people who had some level of leadership. They wasn't the top person, of course, because you never get them. So now they letting out all these leaders. And now they're fighting over territory. Come on. So was that intelligent to just let them out without really rehabilitating them in a real humanitarian way? You just let them out. But they're incapable of rehabilitating them in a humanitarian way. You know why? Because they're inhumane in and of themselves. They have no real knowledge of what being a human being really is because they're not human. They lack humanity. They are a product of humans. But they are not human beings. They're a type of a being. You see the one I'm making? But not a human. You can't expect a lizard to be a damn human. You can't expect a rat to act like a human. And you cannot expect that which is other than a human to be humane. The way we act as a people is not inhumanity. It's ignorance. It's inhumanity because of ignorance. Do you see what I'm making? They're, by nature, hatred of other people. Do you see what I'm making? Like there's certain animals, like a tarantula. It will bite you, period. It's a certain snake that will bite you, period. And it's a certain type of human being that will try to dominate, oppress, and kill you, period. We're not that type. But the acts of evil that we place on each other are due to condition. That's why we kill people more in America than people kill each other in Africa, in the bush. And I'm not saying there are no killings in Sierra Leone, dealing with the Darfur. I'm not saying there are no killers in Sudan. But I'm saying the killing that we do in our community outnumbers proportionately. You feel what I'm making with how small we are in number as due to the entire African continent. We kill each other more dramatically due to our captivity. Do you see the point I'm making? Because in Africa we was not killing each other like that. Because we weren't bombarded with these advertisements of having a materialistic identity. We had everything we needed. Apple was enough. A banana was enough. Now you need every color of Nikes that exists. You need a new Nikes to feel like a person. Because you don't have an identity. So you're your next pair of shoes. Your next outfit. So you're willing to kill to constantly exist. I said, who's worse, a crackhead? I said, a crackhead is more evolved than a drug dealer. It's going to blow you all back. Both of them suffer from very severe identity problems. But the crackhead is more evolved. Because the drug dealer doesn't realize he's a crackhead. Because his crack is a deeper type of psychological, it's a non-material addictiveness. It's a non-materialistic obsession, which is insanity. If you obsess to an actual chemical reaction, that's a substantiated biological process. The crackhead is high off of fictitious reality, off of fantasy, that he must constantly substantiate through materialism. So he's suffering from a deeper type of obsessive compulsive disorder. Because there's no chemical saying, I need a new cane, I need a new Nikes, I need a new car, I need new rims, I need new... There's no chemical there. So he suffers from a worse mental problem than a crackhead. Because a crackhead is clear, I just need this. You feel what I'm making? The drug dealer has no limit to his materialistic of who he would kill, what he would sell, whose mama he would sell crack to. He has no limit in his personality to his greed.
And they give him too.
You got crackheads that are limited because they can steal and rob anybody. But they know this is my $10 habit, $20 habit, $30 habit. And there's morality and integrity within that habit. It's what they won't steal, what they won't do. But the drug dealer, the drug dealer, he wants billions and millions. There is not enough. There's no amount, there's no limit to the amount of greed. He's worse off. But he believes he's better than the crackhead. The crackhead wants to get high. And it's a spiritual high. But the wrong chemical substances. Everybody wants to get high. High means to be enlightened. Everybody wants to be with what they call the most high. They want to be at the highest place within their consciousness. That's what the Hindus do when they meditate. That's what Buddhism is about. They want to get high. Reach a state of highness, of spiritual development. So the desire is right. They want to get high. Just the wrong substance. The wrong technology. The wrong mechanism. The drug dealer don't want to get high. He wants to get low. As down and dirty as he possibly can. So his materialism is not out of the desire to get high. His desire to get as low as he can possibly get. And to bring other people down. You feel what I'm making? That's a whole other mentality. The crackhead wants to get high with other people. Will share his drugs to help other people get high. The drug dealer will sell all of his shit to make sure everybody is on low. But him. Will kill the next person over territory. You understand what I'm making? To keep everything low. So my point that I'm making is that the drug dealer suffers from a deeper psychological obsessiveness that's worse than crack addiction. Literally. Because you can identify the chemical substance and what's happening in the body of a crackhead. And there's herbs and there's a lifestyle change and difference that you can do to change that. A person can become no longer a crackhead. I've seen it happen millions of times. I've seen people get off drugs and become enlightened. You feel what I'm making? I know many of them who used to use drugs, but they're enlightened now. And they don't use drugs anymore. Because you can identify what the issue is. But a person who's just diabolically materialistic, you cannot identify the problem. You cannot isolate the chemical reaction. You feel what I'm making? It's a deep level of identity crisis that no psychologist or psychotherapist can immediately figure out. A crackhead, you say, well, I can see you using crack. You're addicted to that chemical reaction. What chemical reaction is the drug dealer addicted to? You can't isolate the serotonin or the dopamine. And how it's operating within the brain. To make him want to be so goddamn greedy that he can make millions of dollars and not think about nobody but his damn self. What kind of chemical reaction is that? That's diabolical. So my point in making that is that we have to go and look at the materialism that's going on in our community. And I'm not just saying that to attack the drug dealer. Because the same mentality is happening with people who work for corporate America. They want the same thing that the drug dealer wants. They want materialism. They're just going about it a different way. The police officer that's robbing people to sell their drugs wants the same thing that the drug dealer wants. The person that's going to work today, absolutely, that goes out to work every day, that cares about nobody but them, they want the same thing the drug dealer wants. They all want the same thing. As much material that I can get my hands on to make myself look better than somebody else, so how I am better than other people can become my identity. They all are doing that. They all want to be a step above the next and above others. People join organizations not to help people, but to be different and isolate themselves from being like everybody else. Everybody wants to be somebody other than everybody else. Not realizing that it's your connection to everybody else that builds power, that builds strength. Many people say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a man, to raise a woman, to raise a family. Only a true village can protect a man, a woman, or a child. Only a village can. We are nothing in and of ourselves without a community. If it wasn't for people in our community to have some level of knowledge, they could say, look, I'm going to reach out for you. Here, I'm going to give you this. Let me tell you something. Let me breathe this on you. Let me get a second of this. If it wasn't for those people, would we be standing here today? It would be harder. Some of us will be here because of our hearts and us remembering who we are. But it would be harder. We would have more work to do. And we would have more to break through if it wasn't for conscious people who were there, who played their role. Do you see the point I'm making? In creating a conscious community. We wouldn't be standing here today. So it takes a conscious community to raise a man, to raise a family, to build a society. Not just a conscious, it doesn't just take a village to raise a child. It takes a village to have a family. Do you understand what I'm making? Give an example. You stay downtown in some of these high-rise buildings. There's very little stealing in these high-rise buildings. There's not a lot of robbery. People don't steal, you know, in these different condos and in these buildings. There's very little theft going on. You know why? Because there's so many people coming in and out of buildings and houses and apartments that you don't have time to steal shit. And you're going to take it down on the elevator where everybody see you carrying somebody else's shit on the elevator? You're going to leave the building, the security's down there, people's always coming in and out. So it is the village that protects the possessions of everything that everybody has. You see what I'm making? Your gun can't do that. You run out of bullets. Your camera can see them walking away with your shit, but it can't stop them and catch them. You can just keep playing the tape over and over again and see the smile they had on their face while they walked off with your shit. You feel what I'm making? Only a village can really protect wealth. Only a conscious community can protect wealth. No individual can be wealthy by themselves. Your wealth is protected and it's strong, and you can expand your wealth only to the degree that it can be protected by a community that is stronger than your opposition. If you do not have a community, an organized entity that is stronger than those who are against you, your days with wealth are numbered. Do you understand what I'm making? You could be a drug dealer for a while, but you don't have a big enough army to go against the Chicago Police Department. So your days are numbered. So what substantiates real wealth is a community that's strong enough to protect it. Otherwise, it's just a shopping spree. You're just going to have a little temporary time of joy. But your enemies are more powerful. They get new guns.
أشهد أن محمد